So there is a lot that happened in this week's episode of The God of High School. Number one was the fact that we got to see a glimpse at the in-game power level of this series, which we did have a glimpse at briefly in the first episode with a dude, squashing an island with his hand, but we literally see the Gate of Babylon, a sword come out of a portal and crash down on the ground. I'm like, literally, this is straight up fate right now. Gate of Babylon. I'm like, okay, the power scaling just went straight through the roof. I mean, we had stand powers, but seeing what we just saw within this episode, it's like, okay, Mori and Mira and all of them, they gotta really work on their strength. They are nowhere near their level of power. They need to train. They need to be able to get stronger and understand what world they're currently about to get into. So anyways, besides that, we also have the stuff with character deaths and character introductions. There is a lot within this episode, and it's very difficult to keep up with every little introduction we got, but as time goes on, it's very apparent that we will probably get characterization and development for every individual character if they are important, and we'll understand who they are, etc., what they're fighting for, and all that. But for the most part, though, let's get right into the character deaths. So the character that has been announcing all the different, segments of the tournament, between, let's say, what happened in last week's episode with Mori and how he had his fight, we get to see how he actually had a little bit of his backstory, or a little bit of his history revealed. He apparently is blind, which I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. I mean, when you see his design, how he has the glasses on, you never get to actually see his eyes throughout the entirety of the first 5 episodes. But when you watch this episode and it reveals that he's blind, it's just like, whoa, that's a cool little detail. I'm just like, that's interesting. He was showing that he was actually very aware of his surroundings. He was able to get around just fine without a cane or anything, or a, support animal. I'm like, wow, that's actually very impressive, just seeing how he has been throughout the first 5 episodes. And then when he starts talking to Mira, and he's like, oh, I was blinded by the moonlight sword and all that, and I was just like, wait a minute, wait, you were blinded by the very sword technique that Mira's family passes down. I'm like, that's a fascinating backstory. I need to find out more about that, because obviously he was a very important character just to be able to have something like that happen to him. What was the cause of it? Why was he blinded? Was he greedy? Was he a bad person at one point in his life? Or did he actually do something and he got his eyes removed? Whatever the case may be, the point is that we had all of this, and then we had his family introduction. We get to see his little child that also wears shades just like him. He's rocking it, which, by the way, cool little dude. And then all of a sudden, he's dead. And I'm just like, really? Really? Okay, the death flags were obviously there. I mean, the family being shown with the child and all that, and seeing him kind of at a low point with him being blind, it's like, okay, it was very apparent that there was death flags. But even then, because of his character introduction and, the way the episode was kind of presenting everything, it made me have the impression that he was actually going to be the mentor to Mira and help her out. Basically look after her, help her get stronger, train her. But no, he just straight up dies. I'm just like, wow, that's kind of a missed opportunity. I mean, a man literally lost his eyes to the very sword technique that Mira's family passes down, and it would be interesting if he was the one to train her in it and help her get better. But seeing now that he's dead, I'm just like, okay, I mean, obviously at this point, there's probably no ability to reincarnate or, revive people, but potentially that could happen since this was inspired by Dragon Ball. But, I mean, the point is, though, is that seeing the character die was just like, man, that sucks. I was really liking his character. I liked the introduction of him. I liked his voice actor. Just everything about him was really cool. It just feels like a waste. But, I mean, at the very least, this series isn't shy on killing characters off. That is definitely something I do appreciate, because here's the thing. There is a lot of series that just have these characters stay around, and there's never really any weight to it. Never a sense of dread or, holy crap, a character can die. You don't have that feeling, because the characters are going to overcome it and be completely A-okay. But because of this episode and the previous episode, obviously characters can die, which I do appreciate within a story. Now, obviously, if you kill too many characters, you can kind of get a kind of Kami-ga-kill situation. Not care for the entire cast, because they're just going to die. So that is a very delicate, I guess, balance. You can kill characters, but don't kill too many, and hopefully this series doesn't fall into the route of just killing too many characters off. But the point, though, is that I am happy to see that characters do, in fact, die within this series. Besides, the announcer getting killed, we also have Q that is killed too, and that one really shocked me, because, like, after everything, with the 2 episodes ago, with his match with Mori, and seeing how he was revealed to be stronger than the blonde guy, and then Mori did win, but it wasn't because, he wasn't strong, just Mori kind of did something very unexpected. He ate that fruit, which, obviously, as I talked about, is a very apparent reference to some Wukong, which I will get into in just a moment, because there was more references to that in this, episode. But anyways, he straight up is dead. Like, you see him literally impaled at the end of the episode, and I'm just like, wait, what? Like, he was apparently one of the strongest characters and all that, part of that group, and I was just like, seeing him die like that, it's just like, man, that sucks. I would like to see an actual rematch with him and Mori, but we do have to remember that nanomachines are a thing within this series, so it's very likely a life or death, situation, like where you're injured, mortally wounded, like, impelled or something, could potentially get fixed. I mean, when we look at his situation, he is impelled. It looks like he's dead, yes. But we gotta remember that they do have nanomachines and all that has healed, your neck being completely broken. So we do know that it's likely he could survive if he's not dead, and on top of that, we really haven't got to see his full-on power, so I'm not going to say anything yet. I don't want to say he is dead yet until we find out more, because I do believe that it's likely he could still be alive, especially after just the background we got on him, with him being stronger than the blonde guy, and Mori wants to fight him. It's just like, it makes so much sense. But, yeah, okay, with all of that, we also have more information on where the story is going to go after this little brief tournament arc we've been going through these, first 5 to 6 episodes. So our 3 main characters are going to be having a tag match against other individuals that have passed around the world on, these different tournaments of the God of High School. They're going to be having, like, 3v3s and all that, or, like, 3v3, 3v3, 3v3. We don't know how many, if it's going to be, like, a giant battle royale or not, but the point is that there's going to be teams in this upcoming segment of the story, which I do like, because I feel like it would be such a waste to kind of throw our other 2 characters aside since they lost, and all that, and Mori came out on top. I would have hated if they just would have been shafted to the side. I would just be like, come on, you build up these characters, they have interesting backstories, and not to have them focus in the upcoming fights would feel like such a waste. I'm glad that wasn't the case. We actually have them being relevant, they're going to be carrying on with the series, and they're probably going to be getting a lot stronger. They do have the motivation to get stronger, especially seeing Mira have the sore arm and all that. Basically, she was saying she's been training, she's been overexerting herself. I do appreciate those little details, basically showing that they're trying to get stronger in their own way, and it makes me really happy to see that Mira isn't going to try to fall behind. She does have, I guess that feeling of like she's inferior or weaker than the other 2, which makes perfect sense. It's kind of what I talked about in my, previous episode review. I talked about how, like, Mira, when she was going for all of that with the wedding and everything, didn't make sense, but if she would have lost and all that, then I would have understood if she went through that character development, feeling like she wasn't worthy or she couldn't accomplish her goal of reviving, her dojo again, being able to teach that sword technique. I was just like, it'd make more sense if she did it after she lost. And seeing her feelings in this episode of how she felt like she was, inferior and all that to the other 2, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. This is room for character development. She's going to grow as a person. She's going to kind of get stronger. And we already see a glimpse of that, so automatically points for me. I'm glad to see that she's not going to be probably a useless character. Now, okay, with all of that, let's actually get into the mythological stuff. So, firstly, let's get into one that I think many might not have caught, which was the Nox stuff, because I don't think many might know who Nox is, because she's a known god, she's a very well-known god, but I don't see many usually talk about her a lot, because usually there's other people in Greek mythology that kind of overshadow her, for instance, Zeus and all of them, Poseidon, Hades, etc., Persephone, and Nox is actually what they were talking about within this episode, that organization. That name is, comes from the goddess of night, which makes perfect sense. When we actually see how they present themselves, they kind of are shadowy. They move in the middle of the night. I mean, look what we saw at the beginning with, Mori's grandpa fighting. They were fighting in the middle of the night. When you look at everything, their name really does represent Nox, the goddess of night, which Speaking of which, Zeus himself was even scared of Nox in Greek mythology. So that says enough of how strong Nox is. And since we are definitely getting into mythology within this series, I wonder if it's not just strictly, Chinese mythology. I do wonder if we're going to get into Greek mythology, Japanese mythology, Norse mythology. I'm super interested in that. I wonder where kind of the line is going to be drawn for these different types of mythology, because apparently there is gods and stuff within this universe, which was talked about. We had evil beast, divine beast, etc. that was pretty much name dropped within this. So I do believe that there is going to be a variety of gods, probably from Chinese mythology and maybe other mythologies. That automatically gets me pumped because I love mythology. So getting into another similar topic, let's talk about that, the giant wall with the different figures and stuff on it. The first one that really stood out to me was the monkey looking dude. That is very obvious who that is. It's Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong is literally the Monkey King. He's a monkey god. He's really strong. He's well known in the Journey to the West story. Goku was based off of him. When you see that entire image of him, I'm like, okay, they're definitely laying it on thick. They're not trying to hide the fact that there is definitely some Sun Wukong stuff going on, and most likely, Mori is going to be maybe a depiction of Sun Wukong. I can definitely feel that. Then we also have the Jade Emperor that popped up, so that also is kind of giving a nod to the fact that the Jade Emperor is within this storyline, which means that maybe Nuwa and Daji might pop up within this story, so that's also interesting too. So yeah, I really think that the mythology and all that is really... It's making me happy. I know not many care about that stuff. I know many don't get excited about these little things within stories, but it's the little details that really add on, that mix kind of with stuff like that really gets me invested within a story, depending on how it's done, because there's just so many good themes you can kind of really do with it. And so this episode was fantastic. Now, there was also some action within it. Now, very high-level action at that. We get to see a lot of characters demonstrate powers we actually haven't seen before, like the old men figures within this episode. An old man popped up, and he literally impelled his pupil, but it was just like a shadow clone, basically. I was like, okay, that's really cool. Then you see, Mori's grandpa, how he's taking on the Gate of Babylon and all that, and his kick just destroys this giant area of the forest and all that. You never underestimate old people within stories. That is definitely something I have learned throughout my years of reading and watching stuff like anime and reading manga, is that when it comes to old guys within stories, you don't underestimate them. They're usually very strong, powerful, they have these ancient techniques that you really can't underestimate. It's just it's always fascinating. I mean, if there's one series that really got me into this trend that I really started liking, it was One Piece. I remember when I watched One Piece and you got to see, awesome old characters like Whitebeard and all that. I'm just it's always been something I've been a fan of since then, and I'm glad to see it once again being very relevant within this story too. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it though. It's a good episode of The God of High School. I'm curious where the story's going to go next though, because now that we have multiple character deaths and the tournament's basically over, are we going to shift our focus over to the other cast members to be able to deal with what happened with Q and all that and the announcer, or are we going to have Jin and all them, Mori, go in and try to fight and all that and do something about it? We will see. But with that, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you got this video, please leave a like. And with that, Chibi out.